Oh. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Hari Om and good evening from Niagara Falls. How many of you have been to Niagara Falls before? By a show of hands on the Canadian side? Okay. If you walk around the gift shops in Niagara Falls, you'll sometimes see these infant onesies or these kids' shirts, and it will say, "My name is" on the top, and then in huge letters it'll say, "No, no," with an exclamation mark. Because what are parents always telling their infants and kids? No, no, don't touch this, don't do that. So they think that their name is no, no. In Sanskrit, the words we use are vidhi and nisheda. Vidhi means do's. Nisheda means don'ts. So do's and don'ts. Do's and don'ts are for those who are confused, those who are seeking direction. These do's and don'ts are a means. But once you've arrived at the destination, once there's clarity, those do's and don'ts don't serve a purpose, do they? Turning left and right is only when you're not at where you want to go. But once you reach where you want to go, then lefts and rights don't mean anything. We are studying shlokas of Bhajagovindam that are talking about someone who has clarity, someone who's arrived to the purpose of living. For such a person, they validate the Veda. The Veda says, do this, don't do that. They've followed that and they've arrived to independence. So they're validating the Veda. And it's shared that not only do they validate the Veda, they create the Veda. All that they think, all that they speak, all how they act, that is the Veda. They're already there. They're leading by example. As we go about our study of Moha Mudgara, these finer details of scriptures being a means and not the ends has to be acknowledged. Right now, we've forgotten peace. If you think of what your priorities are, if you think about your day, where did peace fit into this? And when we forget peace, we've actually forgotten reality. This course is a reality check. Moha Mudgara, it's a hammer to confusion. When we forget peace, we forget reality, and we treat functionality to be absolute. Functionality is functional. It's relative. Functionality is not the purpose. It is not our purpose to be the most attractive person. It is not our purpose to employ the most people. Those are simply means, and they're only means if they lead to peace. When we interact with people, when you think of emails you write or receive, don't people just get to business right away? Nobody actually cares about how the other person is feeling, where they're going in life, and so on and so forth. It's so transactional. And we've made transactions the only purpose. Whenever you hear this word bhaja, whenever you read this word bhaja, remember, bhaja, the ends of bhaja is to be. To be Bhagwan, to be independent. Sing, seek, serve, worship, love, those are all means. When such messages come, lift yourself and reach out to those messages rather than pulling those messages down to where we are. And we're studying personalities that have lifted themselves to that level. In Shloka 18, we studied someone who is Suresha. Sura means God, and Isha means the Lord of. So Suresh means the Lord of the gods. Now, who is the Lord of the gods? One who is independent. Because the gods depend on that Lord, the Lord does not depend on those gods. So when we become independent, and if you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I'm not talking about physiological needs, nor safety needs, nor belonging needs, nor esteem needs. But as you go deeper into oneself, if you can tune into actualization, you become independent. You are Suresha. And we studied how such a person sleeps, how such a person eats, how such a person moves. Then in Shloka 19, we studied someone who has direction, but there's no desire with that direction. Our direction is always driven by desire, but someone who's immersed in themselves, in other words, in infinity, that person has direction. They're most efficient, most effective, and there's no desire that's driving them. They're not out to get. When you're out to get, then that's where the message comes, be dispassionate. But when you're out to give, then that is passion. And when we are more and more and more passionate, what rises is peace. When you love what you do, when you love who you are, you're more passionate, you're more peaceful. And as we move on to the next shloka, I'm going to bring out this point about loving what you do some more. We are on shloka 20, and in shloka 20, death is brought in. Many of these shlokas talk about death. It's brought up again. What are the two fears that sociologists say every human has? Fear of death and fear of public speaking. Yes, sociologists. What do Vedantins say are the three fears we all have? Fear of death, fear of unknown, and fear of sorrow. We don't fear public speaking. I want to remind you again. We fear the potential of failure, and we brand failure as sorrowful. Okay, so three fears. Death, unknown, and sorrow. Here, the fear of death is brought in. In Sanskrit, what is the word for fear? Bhaya. Where bhaya is, what comes with it? Srimad Bhagavad Gita students, what comes with it? Moha. Confusion. When you're scared, you forget how to speak, correct? When you're scared, you forget how to drive. When you're scared, you forget how to write exams, facilitate interviews, how to cook. We become confused. And when we get really lost in confusion, that brings out shoka, or sorrow. And all of Srimad Bhagavad Gita teaches ashochan. The wise do not suffer. Ma shuchaha. The wise do not suffer. So this is brought out more in Shloka 20. This is attributed to Ananda. What an awesome name. Happiness. Infinite happiness. That's a wonderful name for all of us to change our names to. That's what we should do. Please chant after me. Bhagavad Gita kinchidadhita Ganga jalalava kanika pita Sakradapiyena murari samarcha Kriyate tasya yamena na charcha Bhaja Govindam, Govindam Bhaja Mudamate. Bhagavad Gita means Bhagavad Gita. Kinchit means a small amount, an insignificant amount of adhita. Adhita means to study. So we're all of this comes down to the fear of death is brought up, but the fear. And so this line is saying is if you study an insignificant amount of Bhagavad Gita, you will be free of this fear. Adhita, to study. Here what is highlighted is shravanam and not just exposure. Many people do Sundarkand paths, or they chant all of the shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. And one feels like they're changing, but are they changing? Shravanam is brought out here. Okay, not just exposure. Shravana means you've made your body calm. You've made your mind quiet. You are ready to learn. This adhita, this study of Bhagavad Gita, is really the study of yourself. That's why another name for it is Brahma Vidya. Vidya means that which helps us to remember. Brahma means our deepest sense of self, the innermost part of who we are. In other words, this study is called Swadhyaya. Swa means self. Adhyaya means chapter, means instruction, means understanding. So Swadhyaya means when you study Bhagavad Gita, you should be studying or trying to relate the subject to yourself. This is what adhita is. And if you can do this a little bit, this level of study, you become more courageous. Ganga jalalava kanika pita. Smallness is brought out here too. Ganga jala, a small amount of Ganga jala. Pita, the one who drinks this. Now, when we go to Bharat and we go to the Ganga, what do? We drink gallons of Ganga water, correct? Because then we'll be more pure. And then we bottle it and we come back and we distribute it in such a holy way, you know. Ganga Jal for you. like it means anything to us. What Ganga really is, okay? We don't just want to talk about the water. And there is beauty behind the water, but let's go deeper. Where does the Ganga start? What is the origin of the Ganga? And someone said, Bhagavan Shiva said, no. Correct. Haripada or Vishnupada. Ganga's origin is the toe of Bhagavan Vishnu. That's amazing that this Ganga that we revere so much and is so powerful just comes from the toe of Bhagavan Vishnu. You think about what comes out of our toes and then you think about Bhagavan Vishnu. And that stream of love, that stream of knowledge, that stream of purity comes to Bhagavan Shiva. And Shiva has these matted locks. So dreadlocks came from Bhagavan Shiva. Okay? Rasta should be, Rasta is the culture of religion, but without the religion. They've just taken the form and name of it, but no content with it. Now, when that Ganga goes into Bhagavan Shiva's hair, it keeps moving from matted lock to matted lock to matted lock. It's just moving all around. And finally, this has been invoked by Bhagirata, by a great king who brought that river to earth. So Haripada, Shiva Jata, Bhagirata, Prema. It was his love. Now, if the first quarter of what we studied symbolizes Shravanam, then naturally this quarter will symbolize Mananam. Okay, the first quarter is, the source of Ganga is Haripada. That's where it comes from. But then it has to go into Mananam. Now here's some more depth to the Ganga. Ganga also symbolizes knowledge, correct? And where should knowledge begin? From Bhagwan. Bhagwan gives this Brahma Vidya, this most important knowledge, to a deserving student. That student becomes a teacher and passes this on to another deserving student. And that's how the Guru Shishya Parampara continues. So here when they say drink a drop of Ganga, what they're saying is have faith in the Guru Shishya Parampara. Okay? Mananam is only possible when you have faith. Without faith, you cannot do Mananam. You cannot practice Mananam. And that's why people love Shravanam. But very few, the attrition is so high when it comes to Mananam because we're believers. We're not faithful. So this is brought out here. And one more point here is when you think about faith, faith is more easily given to that which is time-tested. Do you agree? If something is not time-tested, like now everyone keeps talking about sugar substitutes, right? Now there's Coke Zero, but they realize Coke Zero maybe not be so good, so now they have Coke with cane sugar. And on and on and on. It's not time-tested. Who knows what this sugar is actually doing to us? But if it's time-tested, then we have more faith in it. Which is why if you get connected to a Guru Shishya Parampara that is unbroken, where the Guru you're learning from loves their Guru, and that Guru loves their Guru, and that Guru loves their Guru, who are you really learning from? Bhagavan Vishnu, Bhagavan Shiva, Raja Bhagirata. But if you're learning from a Guru who says, I am the original Guru, I've started this freelance project, it's hard to have faith there. And you may think you have faith, but that will be shaken. Okay? So study Bhagavad Gita. This will make you courageous. Have faith in what you're studying. So Shravanam to Mananam. This will make you more fearless or courageous. Sakradapi yena murari samarcha. If one does a small amount of archa or archanam, worship of Murari. Whose name is Murari? Bhagwan Krishna. Why? What does Ari mean? Enemy. And Mura? Mura was a Rakshasa, a demon that Bhagwan Krishna destroyed. So his name became Murari, the enemy of the demon who is Mura. So study Bhagavad Gita, a small amount. Drink Ganga Jal, small amount. And here, what is shared is offering worship or puja to Bhagwan Krishna, a small amount, can make you courageous. But we're not going to take this word archa to be so light. The Sanskrit word ari means enemies. And if you think of enemies, enemies tend to lower you. They make fun of you, or they make you feel bad, or they just push you. They make you lower. And the best enemy can make you so low that you feel like you're in hell. Isn't it? And that's why Srimad Bhagavad Gita says there's 3 gates to hell. These 3 enemies will take you to hell. What are these 3 enemies? Do you think it's Mura? Do you think it's Kamsa? Because Kamsa's not around right now. So we're fine, correct? It is Kama, desire, first gate of hell. Second gate of hell, Krodha, anger. I've seen some people who have come into a meeting angry, okay? And they're just waiting till it's their turn to speak. And someone can be speaking so nicely and positive to them, but when they start to speak, they just bring up a subject that has nothing to do with what that person has shared, correct? Their lips quiver, their eyes bulge out, like I give discourses, like that. And I think to myself that person is in hell right now, and they're creating hell around everyone too. Correct? So Kama, Krodha, and Lobha, or greed. Greedy people. One person keeps asking me, I keep looking at people and they seem like they're succeeding, but they're very adharmic. That person, if they're adharmic, they may be succeeding, but that greed is keeping them in hell, correct? When it says worship the enemy of Mura, worship the enemy of Rakshasas, what is actually being shared here is we need to not just have Shravanam and Mananam, but what's brought out now is Nididhyasanam. When you and I think of Nididhyasanam, all we think about is fancy words like meditation, contemplation. We have special pants and special scents and special times and all of that. Nididhyasana is made up of 2 words. Please try to memorize these words. The first one is Nitaram. Nitaram means always, like the word Nitya, Sada. Dhyai, the second part of this word is Dhyai. Dhyai means to bring to your mind, to remember. So Nididhyasana means to always remember. And if you remember, what can you do then? Practice. And if you don't remember, you can't practice. Isn't it true when I ask you how many of you did your reflection adventure of the week? Those who remember have practiced, but those who don't remember, you can't practice, correct? So here, this is not the archana that we typically see in a mandir. Here's $5. Please do archana of my name. And here you give Bhagwan a leaf and you get a fruit. It's a good deal. $5, you get blessings and a fruit out of that. Archa here means, or archana means, worship. Worship means that we're always remembering why we're doing what we do. Now everyone listen carefully. There is a difference between being busy and being engaged. There is a difference, okay? Being busy is there's lots happening, but there's no meaning to that, or there's little meaning to that. So there's no or little transformation, change, evolution. That's being busy. Being engaged is there's lots happening, but you have meaning to what's happening. So there's transformation, there's change, there's growth. Now ask yourself, did you have a busy day today, or did you have an engaging day today? When we speak to people, do we have busy conversations, or do we have engaging conversations? There's a difference, isn't there? Busy ones you don't remember. Engaging conversations you do remember. Acharya Gaurang was saying, Uparama is when you're not engaged in unnecessary activities. Unnecessary means being busy. It doesn't mean being disengaged. And here, in this course, there's maybe 200 people, maybe more. All 200 of us have a different capacity for doing, for absorbing that which is happening, correct? Someone can accomplish 15 important tasks a day and be totally calm, quiet. Another person with less capacity can do 3, but in that 3, there's a lot of physical, mental agitation, correct? Don't be that small-minded manager that looks at someone and says, hey, how come if you're not moving, you're not working, right? There's some managers that are like that. And so the manager says, move that chair, there. Now move it back to the other place, right? That's the kind of instruction that happens. When Acharya Gaurang was talking about Uparama, Sheila kept on looking at me. Because I'm traveling and teaching, she kept on looking at me, Uparama, Uparama, Uparama. And conveniently, she's not in class today as I explain what Uparama means. There's a difference between being busy and being engaged. Do not justify being busy as being engaged. And only you will know the difference based on how calm you are, how quiet you are. Okay? Enemies are inside. Worship means remembering to practice. Practice what you did mananam on, which you did shravanam on. And what will happen to you? Here's the Palashruti. Kriyate tasya yamena na charcha. Tasya, for such a person, kriyate, who's done all of this. Shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. Studying oneself, having faith in a guide, remembering and practicing, yama. Yama means death, correct? With yama na charcha. Some of you may not know what charcha means. Charcha is like gupshup. You all know what gupshup means. They say gupshup marte ho, right? Like you're hitting, that really means you're hitting, talking. But it means like you're engaged in this back and forthness. That's what charcha is with death. Do I deserve this? Don't I deserve this? Should I go there? What's going to happen to me? For someone who's gone through these inner disciplines, there's no back and forth with death. Because think, death is only to those who are born. But if you've tuned into your absolute nature, that's not born. So doesn't death become not applicable? As these changes are happening and travel bans and this and that, for someone who's a born American, that doesn't mean anything, correct? While you're in the States. So leaving the States, the bans will come to you also. Correct? It's like being that, not applicable. Now, some of the younger people in the class are thinking, death. My parents are still young. this doesn't apply to me. Death is symbolic of change. Don't we fear change? And you know what change we fear the most? When everything is going well. I'm feeling healthy, no arguments in the family, and my career is going fine, or school is going fine. My only fear is that nothing changes. But change is built into duality. But for someone who is centered, change doesn't affect them, right? Think of a spoke, or think of a wheel, a car tire. If you're on the edge of a tire, that tire just goes around and around and around. My Honda Civic does 2,500 revolutions per minute. It just keeps going on and on and on and on and on. But the hub of my tire, nothing happens to that. It doesn't get crushed and then complemented and crushed and complemented. It's centered. That's what it means to reach or rediscover Atman, to be centered. In this shloka, we're feeling we need to change where our direction is. Right now our direction is outward, and that takes a lot of energy. Someone had told me that the two greatest sources of exhaustion are speaking and sex. That's where people just waste their energy. So what we need to do, that's extroversion, is we need to change our direction. And by doing so, we conserve energy, physical, mental, intellectual. And what's amazing about this is that as we conserve this energy, more and more momentum will be built. We will feel more energetic. Not just physically, but mentally also, intellectually also. And then, that's where I keep mentioning, we will start to feel a love for life. Direction, passion, peace. And if you just do a little bit of this Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, that little bit of direction will get us in the flow of passion and peace. And the more you move in this direction, the more momentum that is built. Oh.